He's leaving Westminster Magistrates Court. This is an extraordinary moment. He is one of our most famous broadcasters, the man who was trusted by the BBC to tell the world Her Majesty the Queen had died. Huw Edwards leaving court. He has pleaded guilty to a number of counts of making indecent images of children. It's child pornography, paedophilia.
If you're listening on the radio, there are dozens of photographers. You don't see scenes like this anymore very often with paparazzi.
And I think it is, Bev, because he is a worldwide famous figure, because the image of him telling the world the Queen died went all around the world. Mark White is there for us from GB News. Mark White.
Yeah, I mean, just scenes of utter chaos, as you would expect. I mean, so many camera crews and photographers and protesters and other members of the public that are here, and that's spilled right out onto the main road here, the main Marylebone Road, outside Westminster Magistrates Court. Huw Edwards now getting into that vehicle to take him away from here, deciding, I think sensibly, or at least it may have been decided for him, not to do what he did when he came in this morning, which was to come on the long walk. There were just too many people there, and quite a few of the protesters shouting at him as well as he headed towards that vehicle. So that is Huw Edwards now until the 16th of September, when he will be back here at Westminster Magistrates Court, having pleaded guilty to these images of making, or these charges of making indecent images. 41 separate images, 7 in the most serious category, Category A images, and they relate to one child as young as 7, other children right up to the age of 15. His defence team saying that he was not making images in the traditional sense, but rather opening attachments. But he has pleaded guilty to those offences. He could face a jail term. He has been asked to come back here where pre-sentencing reports are currently going to be carried out that will assess his previous offending behaviour or good behaviour, issues around his mental health, and of course the fact that he pleaded guilty at the very earliest opportunity, which is today. That will add to a discount on his sentence. So it's possible the judge may decide to send this up to the Crown Court if he feels a more significant sentence is in order. But if it's a sentence of 12 months or less, it will be dealt with here at Westminster Magistrates Court. So this man, 62 years old, known of course to people right up and down the country as the most senior BBC News presenter before leaving that corporation recently, has now left here and will be back on the 16th of September for those pre-sentencing reports.
And Mark, it's fascinating because I was curious about the sentencing because, of course, a Crown Court can impose a much larger sentence, and he could be technically, I guess, sentenced to up to 10 years. What is the talk about a discount on the sentence? Is that they will take into account the fact he's pleaded guilty? Should that make any difference to the length of sentence?
Well, it will do, yeah. I mean, the way in which the court system works, they incentivise an early plea because, of course, it shows an acknowledgement of a crime and contrition, but 2, it saves an awful lot of time for the courts and saves potential victims the ordeal of testifying as well. So that's why they incentivise that with up to a third off for an early, very early guilty plea. So it remains to be seen just what the magistrate will decide to do with his sentencing options. As you quite rightly point out, Andrew, he could be facing a more significant sentence, but that will all depend on what those pre-sentencing reports come up with, what they tell the judge to inform his sentencing decision-making process going forward. So it might be that when we are back here again in September, that is the point where they just sentence Huw Edwards at that point, or, as I say, it could go to either another hearing here or indeed the Crown Court, in which case we know then we're looking at a more serious sentence for this 62-year-old.
All right, that's Mark White at Westminster Magistrates Court. Mark, thanks for being with us. There'll be more on that throughout the programme.